Hey everybody, how's it going? Who else is feeling the fire of that Aries moon yesterday? That was so intense. I'm just back from a 2-week trip to England and Iceland, and I apologize for my voice. Sound a little funky. My last evening in London, I came down not feeling very well, and I'm probably on day 4 now of trying to ground into this and get out of this head cold, but it's working its way out. I'm using some amazing essential oils from doTERRA that are definitely helping. And Andrea Shanti, Holistic Body Therapy, thank you for your antiviral honey. It's amazing. So yeah, that fiery moon yesterday, I still wasn't feeling great, but I was so inspired to get up and just like that creative fire. I got up and I put the oven on and I said, let me make some scones for my parents like I did when I worked at Mountain Star Cafe in California, and I did that and it felt yummy. And then I went and decided, God, those windows need to be cleaned. And thank you, Anna, for showing me the easiest way to clean windows. A couple drops of dish soap, some hot water, a rag, and then a squeegee. It's like so much better than Windex ever was. So that company's out, and I'll just keep doing it that way. It was just amazing. But I realized too that after I clean the windows is like a metaphor for like the clarity that I have after coming back from the Icelandic retreat, which was called Off the Grid Iceland 2019. We embodied the 5 elements, and there was so much magic. There's so much magic in Iceland anyway, especially up in the West Fjords. It's just reminds me of the Highlands of Scotland. I kept saying that because behind the retreat center in Sudavik, the hills, they just look like the ones in Scotland. And really, my heart's been in Scotland for a long time. And so just working with all that energy, Now I'm trying to ground back into look at some palm trees maybe, back into the reality of Central Florida. And it's nice because it's not super hot here. But the windows are like the clarity that I've gotten since I've been on this trip. Some things transpired, and yeah, it's helping me to see, how things are. And being a Gemini, I could always see both sides of the coin. But I have so much Scorpio in me, and I have Neptune in the first house, opposite my Mercury in Taurus in the 7th, which is a relationship house. I'm really intuitive when it comes to relationships, and just able to see. I have that like medium mystic kind of natural bent, if you want to say. It's always been like a blessing for me, although of course we could always hone these things much deeper than we do have them naturally, I suppose, and I'm working on that. But I just see what I know what I know. It's just these things, this very scorpionic, it's a knowing. And yeah, that boundaries for me are super important, and I hadn't been doing that for a while. The last few months have been really like laser focused, Saturn and Pluto in the 3rd house of communication, speaking my boundaries and realizing that I can't allow them to be crossed, especially when it brings me any kind of pain. And I'm the kind of person who's so empathetic and compassionate and kind and caring that I wouldn't do anything that I know would bring somebody pain. And I wouldn't want to omit any kind of truth, It's interesting, I'm in this relationship course with Jason Gaddis. He's got the relationship school, and it's just this one course we're taking, but he was talking about conflict avoidance, and that it's interesting because people tend to omit the truth because they're afraid of the person's reaction. But when you do that, you're disempowering that person because you're not allowing them to have their journey. If you did tell them whatever it was you needed to say, or a truth that they should know that you're trying to hide, by not allowing them to know that, you're disempowering them because they're not able to go on their journey and have their own reaction to that, because you're afraid of their reaction and afraid of what position it's going to put you in. And that's something that happened to me recently, and I really was like, wow, this cannot be happening right now. But you know what? It's like I can't keep doing this cyclical stuff. And the beautiful thing about these conscious relationship courses that are like everywhere online, and Jason Gaddis is really, really good at that, as well as Thais Gibson from the Personal Development School. She does a lot of work on the attachment styles. Is that, once you figure out what's going on, you can break the patterning. Keep cycling through all this crazy stuff, like the way we behave in relationship. God, it's been a year almost since my relationship status changed, and I have grown so much. Like, there's no way I would operate the same in a relationship ever again. It's just, no. I just kind of allowed myself to just, keep the peace because there was so much distance and there were things that needed to be, like, delicate, I thought, and really that wasn't true. I was afraid of a reaction, so I kept my truth in, and that's not okay. It was never okay to not be who you are. And so, at any rate, this retreat really helped me to see that, I am a strong woman. I am a priestess. I already knew that, but sometimes I lose myself. So the reflections from people when I was leaving Reykjavik from one of the beautiful goddesses that I got to meet was really amazing. And I remember saying to her, she's like, oh, it's so great to meet you, and I love your energy. And I said, yeah, sometimes I'm a little over the top. But she's like, please. And she grabbed me by the shoulder. She's like, no, please don't ever stop being who you are. The world needs more of you, more of that energy. And I thought, yeah, thank you. We need to remind each other how amazing we are, and then how much our light and our love is needed, and our consciousness, and to not really just, put up with the status quo. If it doesn't feel good, say something. But please, please don't, do anything that is going to hurt somebody else. Be transparent, let people know where you're at in your life. And they're going to choose to accept the invitation or not. If you're in a position where that person's not going to be comfortable connecting with you, you need to give them the benefit of the doubt and tell them up front, and then if they choose not to join you, then okay, that's their choice. But to omit something that's not integrity. I'm sorry. It's just not, because you're afraid of their reaction, or you're afraid that you won't be able to see them. They deserve the option of choice. Choice is a huge thing. So that's pretty much where I'm at. We have that fiery Aries moon, and for me, I do have an Aries moon, so it's like bringing the sword out, cutting it out. If it's not working for me, it's going to get cut out. Full moons are culminations, and Aries is the warrior. It's Mars, it's primal sexual energy, it's primal force, it's spirit coming into matter for the first time. It's the first sign of the zodiac. It can be very impulsive. I don't think that I really run on impulsivity anymore. I did when I was younger, but hopefully with age comes wisdom. I don't know. But yeah, we're in some really, really intense times. I've been having people ask me astrologically, what's going on? It's so intense. And there's the Saturn Pluto, they're in Capricorn. They're breaking down the old structures. Saturn rules time, karma, limitations, rigidity, control. It's in Capricorn, so it's got to do with the bones, the banking systems, the governments. You see all these revolutions happening in all these different countries because the old paradigm, the old masculine patriarchal ways are not working anymore. And Pluto is right there with Saturn, and Pluto rules Scorpio, so that's about deep transformation of systems now in Capricorn that need to be restructured. They're getting broken down. Pluto comes in and just wrecks shit. It's like the wrecking ball coming in and bringing up the shadow side so that you can clear it out and a new version can come up to the surface. And it's not always comfortable, I have Pluto ruling my natal chart. I have a Scorpio ascendant, so I'm really familiar with Plutonian energy. We have Pluto squaring the sun and the moon at this full moon yesterday. So the squares are about tension. Think about a diamond. It's a piece of coal first, and it gets squeezed and pressurized, and then the end result is so amazing. But it's not comfortable. Believe me, I have a grand square. If you looked at my chart, it's like this big rectangle, with oppositions and T-squares. And that's massive transformation. It's like, if you resist it, it's super painful. And I'm sure, and there were times in my life that I resisted stuff, obviously, especially when I was younger. But now it's more about knowing that there's a higher purpose, and kind of, if something's not working, I'm not going to keep swimming against the current like a salmon would, because that's a salmon's life. I'm not a salmon, So Saturn and Pluto are trying to take us out of the old ways of control, and for individually, it's lifetimes of trying to control situations. So wherever Capricorn falls in your chart, take a look at that. For me, Saturn and Pluto in my third house is about like speaking my truth. It's the house of communication and releasing, contracts or things that are not working, or speaking up about them, and clearing them. And we're moving collectively towards, and the South Node is there as well, so that's our past. We're moving towards the North Node collectively in Cancer, which is like the mother. The moon rules Cancer. It's nurturing, it's transcending the control and moving into like bringing in this really sweet energy for those you love, creating a nest, creating a home, creating a safe space, opening your heart. So these things are just like trying to release the patterning that we all have. I mean, we all have conditioning from childhood, and it's always the ones who think that they're fine that have the most to work on, because that's their defense mechanism. I'm fine, my childhood was great, because they've fucking repressed it, excuse my French, so much that they don't even remember. Or they might get snippets of it coming up in dreams now. Like, Pluto's relentless, you can run but you can't hide, and eventually it's gonna like crack you. I'm just gonna show you these birds. So I'm just feeling the energy shifting. I'm feeling myself coming into deeper alignment with who I am, and wrestling with a few things that I've just experienced and moving through it, and knowing that since I've been doing my inner work for the past year, and I've really been doing it. And here's the thing I want to say too about Saturn is that if you've really been doing your inner work, Saturn is the taskmaster. He's like the strict school teacher that puts you to task, and he's going to make sure you get it done. But at the end of the day, if you've done your work, you're going to be rewarded. And I know, and I have to believe that something even better is coming down the street for me, Look, you see that street? I don't know what's coming that way, but like something's coming. Yeah, that's kind of where we're at. So it just feels good to be in a space of grace and trust and surrender. That would be some Neptune and Pisces energy. That's in its home sign as well. The dreams, the visions, I have Neptune in the first house, so I'd be the one in the back of the classroom, like daydreaming. I don't know where the hell I was, probably out on Pluto somewhere or Jupiter, and the teacher would probably have to yell my name 6 times before I would like come back to awareness and go, oh my God, they're calling me. Sorry, So it's a really powerful time. How are you all feeling? Are you moving through all this energy? Just being in faith and trust and grace that everything's going to work out for the highest, But also, like, stick to your boundaries. Don't let people walk all over you. It's not cool. We're here to, like, shine our light. We didn't come here to be sad and depressed and, just sitting around going, this really sucks. No, we came here to, like, shine our light. So shine your light, I hope you guys have a great rest of the week. Thanks for listening.